Hi, I'm Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. Today I've got a really fun idea for you. Take a look at this. This is a Jelly Roll quilt, and we're calling it Jelly Roll Quilt 3.0. And the reason we're doing that is because it is the third in a series of Jelly Roll quilts, and also because of this triangle right here has 3 sides. So it just is a really fun idea and a quick way to make a fun quilt. So to make this quilt, what you're going to need is a jelly roll. We're using this Robert Kaufman jelly roll, and it is called Winter's Grandeur. And it's a holiday color story, and it's just gorgeous. You can see from the fabrics behind me. Also, you'll need a yard of white fabric, and that will take care of your little triangles and your first border. And you'll need a yard of border fabric for the outside edge. So that's really going to make this darling quilt. And this quilt is actually 70 by 75. So it's a good size quilt, about a twin size, and it's just, you know, so fun and quick. So let me show you how we added these triangles to our strips, because we have a really easy way to do that. So the first thing you're going to do, of course, this is the hardest part, you're going to open your jelly roll. So we are going to open this up. Let me see if I can do this here. Lots of us have jelly rolls, but we don't always open them. So you're just going to peel this rubber band off, and you're just going to lay this out here like this. And we're going to sew these together just like we do in the normal Jelly Roll race quilt, end to end to end. But one of the things that we have to do is we want to put them together with a triangle in between. So first thing I'm going to do is cut off this selvage right here. I'm just going to use my ruler, my rotary cutter, and I'm just going to cut off this selvage. The next thing I want to do, and you'll do this to all your strips, so you want to prepare all those strips. So then you want to get your triangle pieces ready. What you're going to do for your triangle pieces is you're going to cut 4 2.5 by the width of fabric strips, and then you're going to cut each one of those into 10 blocks. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut these right here. I like to line mine up so that I know exactly where I'm going. And these are 2.5 by 4. So there's 4 of them right there because I've folded my strip in half. And so here's 8. And then we're going to take this piece right here, we're going to open it up, lay them right on top of each other. And we're going to cut that 4 inches, so I'm going to cut a piece off of this end to kind of square it up, and a piece off of this end. So there's our 10 squares, and remember, those are 2.5 by 4. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take our strip that we're working with, and I've got this one ready right here, and we're going to take our pieces, and I'm just going to press this because it's a little bit wrinkled. And we're going to put it this way so that the bottom of the square is even with the bottom of the strip. And then we're going to sew this way from this outer corner into the bottom. So make sure that you do that, outer corner into the bottom. You can actually fold this corner up like this and over to the side and just finger press it, and that will give you a little bit of a sew line. So that will help you. So we're going to sew from here to here, and let's go to the sewing machine and do that. All right, so I've got my line, and I can see my little corner peeking out there. I make sure it stays lined up, and it's slipped a little bit, so let's go ahead and line that back up. Line it up on the corner of your strip. There we go. Now I'm going to sew straight across here. And I actually generally eyeball these. You know, I just go ahead and eyeball them. You'll want to fold your piece over like this to make sure it's going the right direction before you cut it off. So now that I see mine's going the right direction, I'm going to trim off this extra fabric right here. And then I'm going to iron this back, and I like to iron it all to the dark side. So I'm going to pull this part back to the dark part of the strip, and I'm just going to roll that back like that. So this is how your piece looks at this point. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our next strip, and we want the strip to be in our lap, and it's going to come up right sides together, and we're going to put it this way. So again, this side, we're going to now sew from this side out here, and so we can fold this up like this and match our corners so that it gives us a little, I just like to finger press that and it gives me a little bit of a guide. And then I'm matching the top along that edge, and then I'm going to sew from this side, this corner to that corner. So let's go do that. All right, line it up again. Every time I get over here, it shifts just a little bit. So we're going to line it up again, and we're going to start from that corner, and we're going to sew straight down to the outer edge. There we go. And then again, I like to open it up, make sure that I've got it, you know, in the right spot there, and then I'm going to trim this side off. I always look before I trim. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to iron this open, making sure that our seam goes to the strip side, to the dark side, and you end up with this. And we're going to do this to every one of our strips. So get your pile of 2.5 by 4 inch blocks ready, and get your strips ready, and we're going to sew all of these end to end to end and start our jelly roll race. Okay, so I'm at the sewing machine, and I want to show you guys one more time how to do this. So what we're going to do again is we're going to lay our 2.5 by 4 inch rectangle and line up the bottom and the side like this, and we're going to sew from the outside corner in. And so we're going to do that like this. I just have to line it up and make sure it's all even. Eyeball it to this outside corner. Then you're going to snip this off, and you can use scissors or your rotary cutter. Wait, we better look to make sure. Yep, going the right way. I would much rather look than, better to be safe than sorry, they always say. I don't know who they is, but they always say it. So then I finger pressed this down. You can press it at the ironing board or finger press. Finger pressing for me is a little bit faster. And remember, with a jelly roll race, you're going to go ahead and sew these just how they come off the jelly roll. So then here I am, and I'm lining this up at the top now and sewing from the top middle to the outside bottom. So we're lining it up along the edge and along the top. So the first one is lined along the edge and the bottom. The second one is lined along the edge and the top. Start at that corner. I'm going to peek here to see where my other corner is and sew straight for that. There we go. We're going to trim that off. And we have our little triangle, and we're going to keep going and add another one here. So you're just going to want to keep going till you get all these done. So once you get all of your strips sewn together, remember it's just like a jelly roll race. So you're going to cut 18 inches off, and then you're going to put the last strip with your first strip. So you'll go all the way down to the end till you find the end. You're going to put them right sides together, and we're just going to sew 1/4 inch all the way down the side. So make sure they're lined up, put them under your sewing machine, and we're going to sew our jelly roll race. All right, so here we go. So you know, people wonder all the time how I get so much done. Well, one of the things I do is that it really helps to grow an extra set of arms, and I happen to have that. So I just really enjoy my arms because while I'm sewing, I can actually have a snack, or I can, you know, oh, thank you. Oh, I love these arms. I can fix my hair, and I can keep sewing all the while. It just makes for such a lovely way to do it. Sometimes I get thirsty and I need a drink, but I don't want to stop sewing. So what I do is I just use my third arm to give me a drink. Oh my gosh, it's just so convenient. And you just keep sewing your jelly roll together. Oh my, I didn't even know I wanted that cookie. Oh, and my hair is a mess. Thank you. Thank you, extra arms. Everybody needs an extra set of arms. So if you want to go ahead and just sew your whole jelly roll together, and you get to the end, you're going to cut the little strip in half. And then what will happen is you're going to bring the last part up, put it with the other one, and sew it again. If you have any questions, be sure and watch the other jelly roll tutorials. And we hope you enjoyed this video on the Jelly Roll Race 3.0 from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.